David, when were you first diagnosed with Parkinson's disease?
13 years ago.
What was your initial reaction?
Shock. I mean, I've been pretty healthy most of my life, and to have a diagnosis of Parkinson, you don't know anything about it. You just know that you don't want it.
Actually, I was pretty relieved because I had a lot of symptoms and didn't know what was happening with me, and to have a name for it and know that it was all caused by something that it wasn't in my imagination.
And reach to the low corner. Come back to neutral. Sit in the chair. Reach forward with your right arm and then bring it back to neutral. Get up from the chair.
I had a balance problem. That was the thing that was the worst because we didn't know why I had a balance problem, and they were treating me for an inner ear problem. But it turns out if you put all the
Starting with your right foot.
if you put it all together, it was Parkinson's.
Pause and neutral.
I was dumbfounded. I just couldn't understand why I had Parkinson's, because you'd say it's so rare, but I just wondered why me, you know.
Number 5 is, could you just jump with both feet as far as that? Good job. Okay, that's great.
Were you alone?
It's been a long time since I
Good job.
I went to the doctor just a regular checkup, and she recognized my tremors and wanted to, check into it.
Right.
And she said, I thought it was nerves really. And she told me it was Parkinson, run tests and told me it was Parkinson.
So let's just say hello and meet each other. And I think what would be a good thing too is to sort of mention why you were interested in joining this study, and maybe if there's an expectation you have.
I'm hopeful that, we can find something that would help that, at the same time give me a little longer in life. And it sounds like we've got a good mixture here this morning, and I'm happy to be here.
I have early onset Parkinson's also. I think I was diagnosed when I was 30. I had it for a couple of years before that, but didn't know what to call it. I also had deep brain surgery about 6 years ago, which helped quite a bit. Got a 40-pound orange dog. three kids, all out of college. All tuition's finished paying for.
Yay, congratulations.
Well, I'm Glenna. Everybody knows me, and I am known as Glenna, not Dr. Batson or whatever. I think Christina and I, and Desali too, we believe in the transformative power of dance, or this wouldn't be happening. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like we've seen amazing things happen, and people surprise themselves in ways they never knew were possible for them. And I think that that's what makes it all just an incredible journey for everyone. So I'm real enthused that you're all here.
What's exciting about this study versus our first, which took place in 2010, this study again really looks at improvisational dance and that kind of cueing, as opposed to a more mimetic, follow the teacher, try and look like me approach, which we were really trying to avoid. So we begin usually seated in chairs in a circle, and the subjects in the study follow a series of cues that I will give them to prompt movement. Other exercises happened at the ballet bar, so we could really take some risks with movement on one leg as opposed to two. And then finally, other exercises moved locomotively across the floor, so really some more fuller body dancing. Again, always prompted with improvisational ideas.
Idea that has to do with opposites. Opposites, okay? So for instance, one opposite could be I move with the back side of my hand, that leads, and then I move with the front side of my hand, that leads. Another opposite idea could be I go high or up in space, and then I do the opposite, which is go low in space. Another opposite idea.
Oftentimes, dance is a subject and a means of communication that is difficult at times to quantify. And so, with the help from CDI, with the high motion capture analysis, I mean, we're able to really assert in a scientific community that this is valid, that this belongs in science.
Motion capture can work in a number of ways, but one of the most well-established dominant methods is to use a system of cameras, filming the same action from these different angles and recording that. We use these images from the cameras to extract the movement. And for practical purposes, it's a lot easier if we put markers, which are nothing more than these little tiny reflective balls at different key locations on the human body. As the person moves, these markers move with them. Then we use these videos to extract the motion afterwards.
The student digitizers, that's what they're called, they have one of the most important jobs along the entire chain of work, is because they're putting that video image into essentially 3D XYZ coordinate points. Then we would be able to animate that exactly like the human patient was moving, but we can now rotate it in every direction. But that also allows us to, look at things like range of motion and speed and angles that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do just looking at the video frame by frame.
We invoke quantitative 3D modeling. We create digital avatars of the subject that were participating in the study. And we can use the power of the three-dimensional environment in the computer to do very neat comparisons, visual comparisons that are still informed meaningfully by the numerical information behind it, but is a lot easier to interpret that information just at a quick glance.
I think the scientific visualizations allow us to reach a broader audience that doesn't need to be an expert in this field. Otherwise, without it, understanding some of the tables and, if we just showed them an Excel spreadsheet, a regular person, they wouldn't be able to understand that necessarily without a lot of explanation. But if you show side by side of the visualization, they're going to qualitatively see differences, but then we can also, actually highlight some of the quantitative differences in a much more digestible format.
What people don't often realize is that a technology needs a story to tell, and without it, it's just a bunch of gizmos.
I feel like I have experienced some improvement in my balance.
With all the, I call it exercise that we was doing, it really did help me. It really did help me.
Good. What did you enjoy the most from these classes?
Meeting people and doing the exercise dance.
So you had fun?
I had plenty of fun.
Good.
I think I've improved my balance and my gait. I don't shuffle as much as I used to.
Good.
And my compassion for people has been deepened. That's a blessing.
I think just the interaction and reaction with the classmates. Just a good congenial group.
I met some wonderful people in this program. This is a real crew. I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of myself.